what resistance do you see us realistically experiencing over the next 3 to 5 years or 10 years as we do the necessary work to build out the infrastructure in a way that can handle and kind of solve the big picture problem of getting data to these data centers? I mean, getting power to these data centers.
I think that, you know, when I was born, we lived in a simpler time. A CEO made, 12 times, 14 times more than the average worker at a at the place that they were the CEO of. Today, they're making 280 times what that average worker makes, right? And we now have our first trillionaire, maybe for a little while at
Yeah.
least. And and so I think a lot of folks look at their land that they own and they say, you want to put this big transmission line through my land. I'm not getting more reliable power from that transmission line. I'm not getting any benefits out of that transmission line. You just want the right of way, right? And part of what I'm saying to people is now batteries and solar have gotten so cheap that you can give that person a solar and battery storage unit that brings their electricity cost to zero for $29,000, right? And they're happy. They're like, that transmission line, gave me a zero bill for me and my family for the next 35 years, right?
That's
Like,
interesting.
and so it used to be that you had to say, here's some cash, here's some this, here's some that. They don't want all that stuff. They just want to be treated with dignity, right? They may not make 280 times more than the average, employee. They may not be a trillionaire or whatever it is that like folks are throwing around these days, right? But they got their land, they got, pride. They wanna be treated like a person, right? And so, what is it that's part of their budget that you could help out with, which is a gift that keeps on giving? And the cost of solar and battery storage has gotten so cheap that that's like now the favorite thing that people
Economy
want,
of scale.
right?
Yeah.
And so I just think, and then, if you put enough on there, now they can put an electric vehicle in, right? And it doesn't have to be a pure electric vehicle, it could be a hybrid electric vehicle. A lot of folks now have those vehicles that drive 50 miles electric and then it's gasoline after that. And most people don't drive 50 miles a day. So they're good, right? They're mostly on electric, but sometimes if they got to go all the way to Dallas, they can, fill up on gas. And so,
Well, if you're Tommy from Landman, you driving from Midland to Fort Worth 3 times a day. I mean,
at like 100 miles an hour. My
yeah,
God. My
yeah.
God, those F-250 trucks could haul. Look, I mean, I just think that like I think we just need to depoliticize energy as we just talked about. It's all energy, it's all money, it's all cold beer, right? And a working coffee maker, right? That's what people want, right? And once you depoliticize it, you basically say, what's the best way to help this person to get to yes, right? And I think if you think about it from their perspective, then I think this is going to go really smoothly, right? But if you just try to run it using some AI bot that that you typed in and said, what's the best way to pay this guy off? Well, it's not going to work very well, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is a person to
Yeah.
person thing.
Yeah. It's a value proposition and that's, negotiations are a big thing. But that that concept is interesting. You there's the condemnation and eminent domain, which is associated with
Sure, of
transmission
course.
projects,
Of
right?
course.
And it's got a negative connotation, obviously, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Um, Gosh, if it wouldn't it be something in 10 years or in 5 years if a utility or transmission company has also partnered with a residential battery and solar company to say, hey, give us this right away. We want to tie this line, but we also want to give you free power and a battery. And then we want you to sell that capacity back into the grid, into this transmission line, and it's a win-win for
Yeah.
all parties involved. And I think that's the innovation that you see that's outside of the box thinking that is going to get us there. And it's what you get when you get multiple disciplines in a room,
Yeah.
trying to solve a problem in a practical way, in a way that's meaningful. It's just such an interesting concept, and it's going to be so interesting to see where we're going to be, in 5 years, and how we're going to go about solving some of these challenges without condemning someone's land, right, and taking it, because that's just a bad thing. That's just bad pub across the board.
That's
It's
bad
just
karma for 2 more
yeah,
generations.
you don't want that stink on you for sure.